Good morning. Chairman of this session, Mr. Jaikumar Ramdas, Professor Dr. Ram Ramanathan, Professor Ramakrishnan, Professor Badrinarayan, other faculty members, invited guests, participants of this seminar. I believe there are students from this institute also. Once again, let me wish you a great morning, and let's hope that the deliberations of this session will be useful for you, both for your research career as well as your applications and career. I would also like to start from where Mr. Jaikumar Ramdas has left. In fact, he has given a lot of food for thought, and I will also link my presentation briefly to that. Mr. Ramakrishnan met me almost a month back and spoke about this seminar. So I immediately accepted this because of more than one reason. First, it's a very, very important theme. Entrepreneurship, especially in some specific domains, is going to be the in which I'll speak a bit on that. The second is, today is also, some of you know that it's a technology day. So on a technology day, speaking about the message of the technology day, that is taking science to the lives of people. So I thought if I'm getting a platform for that, it may be it's a good thing. So I'll be specifically speaking on that. And you have seen that in the slide, there is an interesting or maybe an obscure topic of social entrepreneurship, value innovation increase. So it's actually not one topic, it is three topics. Let me create a story to link all these things. So basically what I would start by is that why did I choose a topic like this? Now this is not a pure research work like what Professor Ramanathan has mentioned, nor it is not 100% applied work like what Mr. Jaikumar Ramdas has said. Basically in between this, mainly from some of the consulting experience and the research studies. I have not specifically quoted any research study per se, but I'm sure there are some researchers here who will be interested in that, and we can discuss outside this on specifically how we take it forward. But I also kept the student audience in mind, and maybe some of you will be able to apply some of these as we proceed. So first question is, why do you require a topic like this, which is three things? And I've gone to the type of papers which have been presented in the last year, and I found a large number of case studies on application of entrepreneurship in various companies in and around this area. And to my surprise, not many studies or not many papers have been presented in a topic which I think is very, very relevant for India, which is social entrepreneurship. So I have three reasons why I chose this topic. The first is obviously the economical, and again I link to what Mr. Jaikumar Ramdas mentioned. He spoke about a population of 1.3 billion and also at a phase where we are really growing. So I think that's the first and foremost reason why we need a topic. The second is obviously the social, and third, a little bit on the technical as a technical. So some of you may be aware that there is a theory about the way the economies move. The economies move across the period of its development. There are some indicators to that. I'm leaving that part here. Typically, economies move from what is known as a factor-based economy to an investment-based economy to an innovation-based economy. Now, India predominantly was what is known as a factor-based economy. We speak about typically about the type of manpower we have and the type of hands we have. So that is the reason why many times you can see that people are not aptly employed over there. But the evidences from economic indicators in the last 5 to 6 years shows that India is actually in the move transition. It has actually moved from what we call as a factor-driven economy to slightly to an efficiency-driven or an investment-driven and to an innovation-driven economy. China is actually moving very fast in the innovation-driven economy. Chinese colleges are actually specifying a lot of effort on innovation. Now, if India has to survive, and we will be responsible for that. I quote Mr. Jaikumar on that, saying that we are the lucky people, and lucky people are also highly responsible for that. If we are really have to survive and make this 7.5% growth, SCAP as a study did a study which spoke about 7.5% growth till 2050, we need to actually look at moving more into that innovation space and innovation-driven economies. Having said that, what do you mean by that? That is basically the second theme for me. Now, what type of innovation and what type of entrepreneurship is required? We speak about relevant and sustainable is one of the aspects. But there are also different phases of innovation. And typically when you speak about innovation, we also speak about creativity. So we have the creative and cognitive model of innovation. Some papers were there, so we spoke about that. Then you have the technical innovation. But to me, for India, what we require is actually social and relevant innovation. I'll just give you an example because I'll just take from where Mr. Ramanathan left on RFID tags. On my own personal experience where we have adopted RFID tag. So he spoke about an application of RFID tag in a logistics company. We have applied it in the security of the state. When I was consulting the Hyderabad police, we said that RFID can be smartly used to enhance the security of Hyderabad citizens. How do you do it? Very simple. You hide an RFID tag in the lathis or what is known as bacons of the policemen who go for night patrolling. So they do that and it is actually being implemented there. The next day when they come, the commissioner says that you have not visited this location, you have not visited this location because the entire thing is mapped into his computer through the RFID assets. We did it almost 6 years back. And believe me, the amount of volume of business out of this was phenomenal for the company which was manufacturing it. Because we are speaking about 10,000 policemen in a single city. We are speaking about the control of crime in a single city as such. So what I mean to say is that technology, somebody invents, there is an innovative practice which has to be adopted as such. So that is basically what I spoke as social and relevant innovation as such. But the question is how do you do it? There again, we have two different ways. One I call it as a romantic way of innovation, where we speak about individuals doing excellent work, we speak about X companies doing things like that. But if I can have the liberty of telling this, like me, I think that most of us sitting here are not necessarily creative. Because of our education, we have actually killed our creativity long back. So it's very easy to say we can be creative, but it's not very easy. It's not practical that everybody is creative. So we need actually a methodology for creativity. And that is basically what I will put in my third topic. A systematic method of creativity, which a pure researcher in creativity will shun because creativity cannot be systematic. But there is a technique which is known as FRIS, which I will discuss later, which actually tells you step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, you do this, you can be creative. And you don't need any additional skills for that. If you are a company which is having a problem of innovation, follow this thing. And I don't have the time, but if somebody wants to discuss this, I can take later how we have adopted FRIS in a variety of environments, both in India and abroad. So that is basically the last point which I would speak about. So let me put this way, we start with social entrepreneurship, where you are adopting the innovation into the social masses. Then we speak about how do you do that to value innovation. And to innovate, we are coming out with a methodology. So it is both past and the present. So let me look at the start one. What is the social entrepreneurship? I don't want to go into the detail of this because of paucity of time. But to me, basically, we can put enterprises into these two axes. One is a profit potential axis and other is a social impact potential. Now, we know that a normal enterprise is typically high on the profit potential axis and generally low on a social impact axis. Somebody can say that no, we have a CSR which works for the social. I'm not speaking about that. But typically, if you look at the type of footprints a company puts onto the environment, and if you compare that, it is generally normal enterprises falls negative on this and profit potential positive. Now let us look at what is called not-for-profit entities, which are basically the NGOs and others, who says that our objective is only social, we need not have to be profit making at all. So these two are the divergent views, and this was happening for quite some time. But today we try to merge these two. And we try to merge these two and say that why do you always have the conflicts? We can actually have something which means both social impact positive as well as profit potential positive. And I think that is basically what we can call it as a social entrepreneurship in a much simpler term. There is much more legal, academic definitions that I don't want to get into that, but that's basically it. Now, but what the important question we should ask is why do we need them? And more importantly, how do we make them? To answer why do we need them, we will come back to India and world, and we say no that 4 billion plus people live less than $2 per day. And we every day we see, if you go to some of the cities, we see these sort of pictures. And we know that there's a large number of population, it's It's at the bottom of the pyramid as such. And we also know that from the data, we also know that they generally consume very less. So for example, if you look at the intensity of consumption in the world, 20% of the people consume 80% of what is known as organized goods. So some of you are going to get into business management. Your target customers are people who are rich or neo-rich, who basically consumes 80% of the consumption. Put in another way, you can say that world's middle consumes 21%, poorest consumes 15%, and the highest income group consumes 76%. And you can actually take specific instances also. But so what we do because of this across the years, right from the Ford's model of the car onwards, is that we focus on 20% product and service delivery. In CRM, we speak about that also, right? We look at the high net worth individuals and do that. And we, at some point of this sort of seminars, we feel bad about the poor. We discuss them in detail, and we say that government should do something about it. Now, but the important question, which has been asked by some of the researchers, which you know who I am referring to, is that do we really understood them? To do that, let us get into the house of one of the slums in Dharavi. This is a house in the slum of Dharavi. You can see that people are sitting in the floor and eating. But interestingly, what you see is that you can see some very interesting things here. Right? You can see a television, you can see a nice refrigerator, you can see nice quality chappals. You don't have a proper bed and coat, but you have this. Now, this is basically what we were missing when we were not addressing this market. So like what Prahlad said, we should recognize the poor, the less than $2 billion poor, as resilient and creative entrepreneurs and value conscious consumers. You ask a poor person who is earning less than, let's say, 100 rupees or 500 rupees sometime back, how many of you own cameras? The answer was maybe 0. But today, almost everybody has, like what Mr. Jayakumar said. Nokia actually captured the market. Nokia did not capture the market which was originally a camera buffs market. The market which Nokia captured is the one who uses camera, but for many other purposes also. Now, the non-consumers they have addressed. They address somebody who others have not even thought as their consumers. And like C.K. Prahlad says, this is the large market where our entrepreneurship have to address. So poor has low purchasing power is actually not really a fact. The first, we know about Grameen Bank, the other is a consulting project which I have done, or which IMA has incubated, where we have actually changed the lives of more than 7,000 people through a project known as Subiksha, where we have shown that poor people actually have got power to produce and get into the business at a much higher level, especially in the collective. Right? Since we don't have time, we will not discuss too much on that. Second thing is, you have only subsistence requirements is again another myth. And they pay less for goods and services is the third myth. In fact, if you look at the imputed cost, and some of you must have read the Prahlad's book, he specifically speaks about the cost of water in Dharavi versus cost of water in Malabar Hills. And he actually says that the imputed cost of water in Dharavi is far more than what water you get in Malabar Hills. So we have what is known as a poverty premium being paid by them. So all these are the ones which we were having a myth as. So we need to look at, to cater the market, we always thought about low price, low quality should be the mantra. You break that and we move out of saying that it is not a problem, there is a huge market for that. A student of mine has started a company which makes solar lamps, and his market is 130,000 crore. And he could not obviously cater to that market because there's a huge market. We, rather than looking at what is the differential advantage to your existing market, you start getting into the market where the volumes are very large. And there are others you have what is known as economically active poor, which needs several sets of services. And poor do not appreciate technology. Again, if you look at the mobiles, the type of mobile usages happen with lower income group. And like we discussed in the morning, the creative bundling with the local flavor is basically the challenge. The reason why camera mobiles become so popular is very easy to operate. You don't need to do anything about it. So you are actually creating a technology adoption, which in fact Mr. Ramanathan's research study also met that. So basically you have seen that, that's basically the thing which happens. An opportunity for the world's wealthiest companies to seek their fortune and bring prosperity. How will you do that? Because, why you cannot do it? Because there is always a commercial and social objectives had an inherent conflict. I believe, and that is basically the whole essence of this whole essence of blue ocean strategy, is that conventionally we always believe that there is conflicts. And conflicts cannot be, you can do one or the other. So when you move to social entrepreneurship, we are actually trying to negate this inherent conflict. And how do you do that? So there is a need for changing the underlying paradigm where we speak about cost, quality and access. Conventionally we can do one, not the other two, so we need to break that. So we need to move from what we call as this or that, what I call as the or world. And moving from the or world needs rethinking the way we operate. I'm sure that you may be thinking that this is basically speaking over the hat. So let me stop a minute and give you an example of how you move out of an or world. All of us know about the competitive strategy. All of us know about what Porter said. And we know that it is conventionally we believe that a customer's cost, varieties or responsiveness. If customer wants lower cost, naturally the variety will come down and service time goes up. Similarly, if you have to deliver more number of varieties, the cost goes up and the variety comes down. Or if you wanted to deliver something fast, again you have an issue that cost will go up and service time will come, and the variety will come down. But that is not so anymore. If you look at the paint industry, for example, 10 years back, if you go to a paint industry, you see that you get, if you wanted a new variety of paint, you have to pay extra, you have to wait more, you have to spend more. Today you get millions of shades, the same cost, very fast. You think about a company like Dell, which is delivering. Why? Even the companies in India has actually shown that they can actually break this triangle. It was only a mindset that saying that one or other only is possible. So breaking away from the or syndrome is basically a challenge. How do you do that? Two ways you can do it. One, first and foremost, we need to move out of the industrial age principles. The biggest challenge of invention and innovation is, like Prahlad says, is the strategic orthodoxies of individuals who believe in accepted practices. So we need to start challenging on it. What are those we need to challenge? A, we believe we will be successful if we are better than our competitor. That is the first and the foremost thing. Just by doing it better than your competitor, you are not really going to be successful. This is the classical industry around now. Second thing is we always speak about trade-offs. We have a full paper on operational research which speaks about how to optimize, how to speak about trade-offs. And you have competition, just to competitor was basically. And there is a concept of competitive. What would be the other option? The other option is, if you look at the classical strategy triangle, we spoke about competition, which is a competitive advantage view. We speak about company, which is a resource-based view, but we can also look at from the customer effect. For example, the classical strategies includes low-cost leadership, differentiation, customer relationship, and network effect. But like Kim Chan and Rene says, because these are all you are fighting for the same customers, the whole ocean is really red. So what you really require is something which changes this into a blue ocean. And I don't want to get into the full blue ocean strategy lecture now because we don't have time. We have, I think I have 7 minutes more to speak on. So I don't want to get into it. But the essence of blue ocean strategy is exactly what I said earlier. Look at large market. Look at market where so far they are not our customers. And then start moving this trade-off away. Say that I'm going to give you value innovation by conventionally what is a trade-off, I'm going to achieve both of them. So conventional beliefs of high return, high risk, not necessarily true always. Inventory and stock outs. If you have higher inventory, you have a less stock outs. You have enough evidence in literature to say that that is not really happening in practice, even though we can show that using some models and all. And trade-offs. From trade-off, you move to multi-dimensional achievements. Move from competition to collaboration. In fact, Mr. Ramanathan spoke about servitization, where you are actually making product and service not as two parts, but as integral part assets. So So basically you are coming out with a collaboration every level, at the process level, at the product level, and at the delivery level as well. So you have large number of business out there. You have the low cost airlines. In fact, if you go to the innovation room which Shakti has made, you can see what I said is reflected in each of the innovations as such. Each of the innovations you can see somebody has broken those trade-offs, which up to that point there is a trade. So, in other words, had innovative solutions, change the inherent contradictions, and a new approach of problem solving rather than attempting to remove the contradictions, address the inherent contradictions through innovative thinking. And you move out of what is known as the herd thinking. The herd thinking is, just to give you an example of herd thinking, if you look at take two restaurants, any two restaurants you go, you can see that you just map their processes on various quality parameters. You can see that their graph will be similar. Then you go on or up. Now, if the same thing, you just put something like a McDonald's or Chokidani in Jaipur, and you can see that they diverge. And result, they get a huge amount of market assets. So you have a concept of how to create value curves and start moving away from the value curve by breaking the trade-offs assets. Now, having said this, it's easy to do that, but easy to say that, but it's easy to do that in a commission logic. Same is what Chris does. Your problem, you translate into a problem, previously well-solved problem, find out what is the solution to that, apply it back, and you get the solution. So this is a simple steps. Identify my problem, which is difficult. Formulate the problem, search for previously well-solved problem, look for analogous solution, and adopt my solution. So let's take a simple example here. If you look at, this is a metal pipe, and you have plastic pellets which are going through it. Suddenly they found that they actually wanted to send metals also through it. But that's a problem, because it has got a 90-degree bend, so metal will go and strike, and there is going to be an erosion. And I'm sure that people from industry knows this is a very, very common problem. Now, what is the common solution? The common solution is to do the batting. Common solution is to provide some extra metal, material, all those things. All those are costly. Now, what Chris did to us, they looked at this, and I will just explain that and I will finish it. So what they did to us, they actually, these are all the elementary principles. So what they did to us, okay, they look at this problem and say that what is the main function to change the direction of flow of the metal particle. So what do you want to improve? We want to increase the delivered particle speed and reduce the energy requirement. With that, they look at the Chris matrix, saying that which are the parameters which are going to be better and which are the parameters which are going to be bad. They found that there are parameters force, durability, temperature, energy, loss of matter and molecular substance which are going to affect when you improve the speed, and improve the energy, you have a